My name's Stephen, 23 years old, London based, predominantly known for being the drummer and the composers. Been fortunate enough to work with a few other artists as well outside of that, and also now running a business, Future Music Services, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So music has kind of been there from like day one, literally from as long as I can remember. So the story goes the same as a lot of other people. Started out from church, you know. My mum was very active in church, so you know we'd always be in church Saturdays, Sundays, and the drums was just something that always caught my eye. Literally, always. So like, you know, on Sundays I'd see someone playing drums and I'd just be so fascinated by it. Then, for example, like my mum was someone like on Saturdays she would go and clean the church. She's one of those kind of people. So I would follow her just so I could go and play drums. So as you know, her and a few other people are cleaning the church, I'm literally playing the whole time. I'm just playing and you know, just any little opportunity I could get, I would just play. And then, you know, obviously growing up and going to school, getting involved in like school, you know, bands and local bands, and then obviously now in more present day doing all the stuff that I'm doing now. So yeah, music has literally from day one always been there.
A brief background about your education.
So I did the conventional thing all the way up until 18, and then I decided to be one of those people that say, nope, I'm not going to do the university thing. So, you know, to my parents, I told them, oh yeah, I'm just going to take a gap year and I'll go after. And then, you know, I actually went for like 4 months, and then I dropped out without them knowing. And then it was like, I think 2-3 months after I dropped out, like my dad kind of just came like so calmly. He's like, listen, I know you have stopped this thing, innit? Like, I know you stopped. Like, you don't have to tell me. So, like, you know, what's your plans? And I just told him, like, look, Dad, just want to do this music stuff and, you know, have some business plans as well. So, yeah, all the way up until, so I did primary school, secondary school, college, and then that was that. And then, obviously, after, I've done, like, a few little courses just for myself, so, yeah.
Would you then say that your exposure to music vis-a-vis joining the band in a way contributed to your decision to sort of drop out from university?
Yeah, 100%, because I feel like obviously everyone kind of goes to university for 2 reasons. One, you know exactly what you want to do, and the career is more of an academic based career. So you want to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever, that kind of career, you need a qualification to back you up. Or you almost don't have it figured out yet, so you know you just know going to university will kind of give you that kind of option to do what it is you want to do. But for me, it was just kind of like, you know, I'm fortunate enough to, from a young age, know what I want to do, and I've already started doing it. So for me, my thought process was the same 3 years that I would go to uni and almost try to get whatever qualification. In that same 3 years, I can work hard at the things that I want to do, build what I want to build, and that was always in my head. Always in my head, because obviously I had my best friends and my closest friends, they were all going to university, and I always said to them, I was like, listen, by the time you guys finish and come out, I'm going to be set. Like, I'm going to be doing what I'm doing, you know, I'm making my living off of, you know, what I said I would do. So that was just always in the back of my head. I think as a musician, what keeps me going is just the love for it. Literally, like, you know, and I'm one of those people, like, it's a good and a bad thing as well. I'm easily inspired by like so many different things. So it's like, you know, I can one day just wake up, I just really want to play drums. You know, I really want to play, and you know, I'll be, if I'm having a gig that day, I'll just be so excited to go to that gig. Or it can be like, I can play a show and just the reception I get from the audience almost fuels me to be like, yeah. Or it could just be like, literally, it's happened so many times where like someone's just literally pouring their heart out, like, yo, listen, I've seen you, I see you doing your thing, and it inspires me, it helps me, and that really inspires me. And just the fact that I think I've just been blessed with a gift that has allowed me to, anything I have, anything you see me with today, anything I have, anything I've done, it's literally down to music. Literally music, is what birthed so many things for me, so many different mindsets. So yeah, man, just so many things just inspire me on a day-to-day basis with music. That's a good question. Do you know what? I think as you do anything, not just music, if it's, you want to do fashion, business, whatever, with the success of what you do comes almost the popularity. And I think you just always have to remember and be rooted in why you started. So some people, they genuinely just want to be famous. Genuinely, that's their only desire. And as a result of that, when they get the fame, and we hear so many stories, like some musicians and rappers and their problems with women or drugs or this and that and the other, and some is they just want to get rich. They get rich and then they almost don't know what to do with the money. But I think for me, what it was the fact that I just love what I do is what keeps me rooted, and I kind of don't take too much from the things people say to me, because I think it's very easy for me to almost put myself in my mind, say to myself, yeah, there's no one better than you out there, because you've got people from all these different places, like, singing your praises, so and so. So, I'm the best, no one can talk to me. But I think for me, that I always say, I feel like the humble, and that's been like my prayer since I started this thing. Like, the bigger I get, the more humble like I want to become, just because like I just feel like as you, there's a saying, like, the same people you meet going up is those you'll meet coming down. So if you almost, you're rising, you're doing your thing, and then if I don't take time to, a lot of people a lot of the times, they don't even think I would take time to do certain things or even have a conversation with them, or you can't call me. Sometimes I'm even offended that some people don't call me for certain things. Like, if it's like someone I've known from before all of this, and maybe they're doing a show and they call someone else to play, and I'll be like, why didn't you call me to come and play? And they're like, oh no, you're doing. I'll be like, no, like, I'm still the same Stephen. Do you know what I'm saying? Nothing has changed. Like, if it's £100 you're going to pay me to come and play, that's fine. It's not about how much you're going to pay me, it's about who it is. Do you know what I'm saying? So just keeping that like stigma in my mind, I think is just one thing that's always kept me like just looking straight, and I'm not getting distracted by what this person says, what that person says. So nah, not quitting, but it gets hard. It definitely gets hard sometimes, because you have your moments where, like, some days it's financial problems, some days even mental problems. Literally, like, not to say like I've got mental health issues, but we see a lot of musicians go through like mental health problems because there's so much pressure on you as a musician. And it's almost like, even just linking it back to the first question, like, people have so many perceptions of you because you do music, you play in big places and this, that, and other. Everyone just has their own ideology of you, and sometimes it's just like, nah, like, that's not what it is. And I think those rather are the things that I haven't enjoyed, and I would say not made me feel like quitting, but just, I don't like this part of it. Like, just leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Just leave me alone. Like, and you don't have to always think I'm this or I'm that. So I think I love the craft too much to ever feel like quitting, and I feel like I would be. It's even in the Bible. It's in the Bible. It says, like, the gift God gives you, give it back to God. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I'll be doing myself an injustice, and I'll be doing wrong to God for giving me this gift and not even using it how it should be used. So I'd say I went from extended family to becoming the core family. So I say extended family because they were already a group. A lot of people don't know they were already a group doing their thing, and they had their name around town already, and you know, if you was a musician, you knew the composers, like, and you know, they were the guys, like, you know, when there was in the days where like there was a lot of like gospel events, like when you'd see them come in the door, everyone's like, the composers are here, like these guys are coming to, you know. So I think when I was like 13, 14, I kind of knew them because they were friends with my older sister. So through that, I just kind of created a bit of a bridge with them. And then at the time, the drummer at the time, he wanted to kind of venture out and do his own thing. So it started off as like 1 or 2 shows that he couldn't do, and then they reached out to me like, you know, do you want to come in, do you want to sit in, and you know, I'd be like, yeah, cool. So did a few shows, and then long story short, it kind of went, they kind of like, you know, put a pause to the thing, and then new management came in, and when new management came in, they brought the idea of this concept that you guys see now, which is the live band DJ kind of vibe. And then it was like, okay, you know, Charles, Nana, David, you guys are already the composers. Stephen, are you down to like join? And I was like, yeah, cool. Like, you know, I never really liked the idea of playing in a band, but I mean, with them, it was kind of more like, I don't have any older brothers, so they were like my older brothers kind of thing. So it just felt like a cool vibe. Like, all right, cool, yeah, I'm working with like my older brothers. And then yeah, we kind of from there got together and just, you know, figured it out. And then here we are today, 7 years later. So this sounds weird, but there was 3 first times, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There was 3 first times. So the first time was it was just like a gospel show. Like, it was like a gospel show that they were doing, and I went and played. I want to say it was at Dominion Centre. I think. I might be wrong, but that was a very long time ago. Like, I'm talking nearly 10 years ago. And then the next first time was actually about 7 years ago in this was like the launch of the composers, and we almost put together a boat party it was just like, yeah, let's just do a summer party. So we did that, and there was a lot of our like, you know, family and friends that came to that show. So we did that, and it was like a leap of faith, like, let's see what happens. Went very well, but we was almost like, okay, this is just us and our people, so let's see if we can get another opportunity to like go to another booking. And then, so the first ever show I remember was in October. It was Miss Ghana, and I remember like, not that I was anxious, because that's just something I've never had, like nerves, but I was just like, I remember saying like, you look, this can go really good or this can go really bad. Like they just might not like it. And I remember my manager standing next to the promoter, and he said to her, he was like to her, they're gonna play for 20 minutes, but if in the first 10 minutes you don't like it, just turn it off. Just turn off the sound. That's what he said to her. And then I was almost like, it's gonna go well. Like, I don't even know. And then I remember, so obviously at the time we was nobodies. Do you know what I'm saying? Nobody knew who we were. Individually, people knew us, but as for the collective, nobody knew the collective. So it was almost like when they said the composer, I'll never forget. They announced the composers, and it was only like maybe like 3-4 of our friends that we came with that were making noise, but everyone else was kind of like, and you can obviously just see instruments. So everyone's like, who are they? I'm just seeing a band. Are they just coming to play? Like, you know, everyone sees bands at like weddings just playing in the background. And then I remember like the thing started, and everyone was almost like, what's going on? Like, how is this happening? And I swear to you, like, there's even a video of this. Yeah, I need to rip it. By the end of that set, yeah, the whole room was like upside down. Like, no one could believe. I think that night we got like 3 other shows. Literally, like, people wanted us to play like their weddings. People had other events, and literally from that day, like, it was crazy. And I remember like there was a couple there. We played at their wedding, and I remember playing at their wedding. Place went upside down. Then we got like another 4. So before we knew it, like from October to like early December, we was actually quite busy. And then it was to the point where we was kind of like, you know what, I think we can do our own show. So that's when we did like the first night with the composers in December, and then literally from there think what it is, yeah, every show has a different meaning. Do you know what I'm saying? So I can probably give you about like 10 shows and be like, this is why I like this one, this is why I like this one, this is why I like this one. So it's like A Night of the Composers 1 was almost like, yeah, like, no, sorry, Miss Garner was like a memorable show because it's like, that's the first time we've ever played, and 10 out of 10, literally, like, you can't fault anything. No one has a bad word to say. But then I can reference A Night of the Composers 2 because I think if that we've ever hit an obstacle, like, it was mad. That was like some police issue. Someone, I promise you, I still want to know who the person is, but someone decided to go and just leak some information to the police and say, like, you know, we're involved in gangs and whatever, and the show got shut down like the day before and just lost like all the money we had saved throughout the year. Like, I'm talking like 5 figures. Like, we just lost it in the space of an hour. We lost this whole show, but it's like we just fought, and then 2 weeks later was somehow managed to do the show, and like it was even bigger. So like that show is our second show. Within 2 years of doing this thing, we've got like 2,000 people at a show with, you know, family, friends, and just the whole of like London has literally come to see the show. Then I have like, literally just, I feel like I'm doing Composer's greatest moments right now. But then I have like things like, you know, when like I toured with Fuse, like that was good because I was very young. I was like 16, 17, and like that's where like I probably learned everything like about how this music thing works, like literally. And then, you know, there's just stuff like, yeah, just like stuff like Afro Nation. That was mad, like mad, absolute. That, I literally say, upon all the traveling I've done, that has to be one of my favorite trips because it was like just the vibe of the place, literally, like, and how much like everyone thought it's not gonna go well, and then like when we play, and we actually played I think 4 times at that festival because we had our own slot. Then we played with Stoneboy, then we played with the band, then we played with Davido as well. So it's like, but it's like every time we did it, it was almost like when you say the Composers, everyone's going mad, and it's just like, okay, this is crazy now, like. And then you have stuff like, you know, like I remember like the first time we went to play in America with Sarkadia, like that was mad because again, I'm like 18, 19, it's the first time I'm going to America, so I'm already excited. I've never been to America before, that's my first time. And then we actually played in the Apollo Theatre, which is like the biggest it gets, like in terms of legendary venues, is with Sark. Sark is like the biggest Guardian act, and the show is just being talked about everywhere. And then, so yeah, there's just so many, and then there's just other like, you know, like I have shows that I played that was just a fun show, like it was literally so fun. I would just never, like, just local shows, literally like local shows, sometimes not even with the band, you know, like, so yeah, I think every show has its different meaning to me, and I think they all, it's weird, I remember certain things because I was at like different points in my life, do you know what I'm saying, where like, you know, there were shows I remember like I had like an issue, not an issue, but like family, like my dad was very ill, like, you know, and I remember like my dad being ill, and I remember like I had to travel, but I wasn't sure about traveling because like my dad's in hospital, like I don't know, should I really be going? And I remember speaking to my dad, and he's like, no, I want you to go, like go. And I went, and the show went like really well, and I came back to see like my dad's coming out of hospital, so it's like everything's got like different emotional values, you know what I'm saying? I remember being in like, I think it was Vegas or something, play the show, before we was about to play the show, and I get a phone call that my grandma's died, and I'm just like, okay, what the hell do I do now? Should I fly back home? But again, it's like, I can't really do that because, you know, but then you do the show, then the show goes really well, and it's just like, all your emotions are just coming together. So there, everything, I could go on, literally, like, we played God knows how many shows with different kind of madness, you know, but yeah, man, it just goes to show, like, there's milestones in this thing.
For the blessings you give me. When she ran up on me, so me,